It's rhubarb season, and I have been out in my rhubarb patch. Maybe next time I'll show you how I pick rhubarb, but I have picked a little rhubarb and chopped it up. We're going to make a rustic rhubarb tart. And as you all, if you watch this every year, will probably remember, I love rhubarb so much that I wrote a book about it. This actually is in my book, Love, Laughter, and Rhubarb. And it's just easy, which is something I love. So we're starting with the crust, and this is flour and just a little bit of sugar, a little bit of salt. And into that I am putting cold butter, which I've cut up just to make it easy to cut it in. And I cut it up and then I put it back in the refrigerator. So it's nice and chilly. We're going to use our pastry blender. The trick with this is you really don't want it to get too warm. So, but the good news is that the butter doesn't have to be completely incorporated. It just has to be made into small pieces of butter. So this is a pastry blender. You could also use 2 knives if you wanted. I would probably not use your hands for this particular recipe, but if you're stuck, use your hands. Okay. We're going to pretend that that is a little more chopped up, and I have here an egg yolk. Into my egg yolk, I'm putting 3 tablespoons of very cold water. Luckily, where I live, we have well water, so it comes out, it wasn't quite 3 tablespoons. There we go. So the well water is always nice and cold. And you mix those together. Then, oops, I want to get rid of some of my butter in my bowl. You want the butter in the crust. It's really quite a tasty crust. It's what the French call a pâté brisé, which means it's just slightly sweet and quite buttery and perfect for something sweet like this. Okay, we incorporate, I'll make a well, our little egg yolk and water and mix them up. Now, you're going to see as I'm doing this, it may or may not be moist enough. Part of it depends on the moisture of the day. I don't know. Sometimes it needs more moisture and sometimes it doesn't. My guess is, looking at this, it's going to need a little moisture in addition. But you don't want to get carried away. If you put too much liquid in a pie crust, and this is basically a pie crust, it gets kind of tough. So I'm just putting a little bit at a time. What we're looking for is for it to be able to hold together, but barely. Okay, a little tiny bit more water, and then I'm stopping with the water. Then I'm going to feel it. Yeah, see, that's going to clump together nicely. So what you do with that is you make a clump, and as I said, it's not going to be a perfect ball. It's messy. And you put it in wax paper, and I usually am a little overzealous and put the wax paper then in a bag, and you refrigerate it for at least an hour. After it comes out of the refrigerator, you take a cookie sheet and you line it with parchment or silicone or whatever you want, and you take your cold crust and you make it into it's supposed to be a circle. I'm not good at geometry, so it's kind of a circle. But remember, it's called Rustic Rhubarb Tart, so it can be as messy as we like. That is our little crust. Now it's time for the rhubarb. So I've got 2 cups of rhubarb, 1/4 cup of sugar, and a teaspoon of cinnamon. And what I'm going to do, and I'm going to take a break after this so you can see the final product, is I arrange those delicately on the top of my tart crust. And then I put it in a 400-degree oven, and I'll be back when it's done and I'll tell you how long it was in there. So we're back. The tart, I probably could have cooked it a little longer. The recipe you will see says 20 to 30 minutes. You want it to be brown around the edges, which it is, but as I look in the middle, it might be a little, what's the word I'm looking for? Wet, but it's going to be delicious. And I'm sharing it with my neighbor, Alice, because we can share things now that we've had our shots.
Yes, absolutely.
And Alice wants to eat it right now.
I do. It looks very sugary. That's what it looks.
Well, a little bit.
A little bit of sugar.
So enjoy rhubarb season. Bye.